Ever feel like your emotions are getting the better of you? Worried about your core memories going haywire? Do you miss Bing Bong?
Oh, it always gets stuck at the bottom. Here.
Boy, do I relate, which is why it's so awesome that another Inside Out has hit theater screens all over the world. It's also why so many people are revisiting that first emotionally fraught Pixar flick. To commemorate all the feels you might be feeling at this very moment, we've put together a quick Inside Out marathon for you to enjoy. Hopefully this helps you relive some of your core memories. Welcome back to Channel Frederator. Today we're going to be running through a handful of our favorite videos concerning Inside Out and Inside Out 2. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and like this video for more like it. Alright, let's get started. First up is a double whammy of Inside Out facts. 107 facts about Inside Out times 2.
Last year, Inside Out conquered the world with all of the feels. So how could only 107 piddly little facts ever be enough for such an amazing movie? Of course it's not. Can't get enough random trivia about joy, sadness, and the rest of the gang? Well, we've got you covered. I'm Maggie at Frederator, and we dug deep this time to uncover even more need-to-know info for die-hard Inside Out fans. So get ready, because Cartoon Hangover is counting down the 107 more facts you need to know about Inside Out. So let's get started. Number 1, Pete Docter, co-writer and co-director of Inside Out, has always been interested in psychology and philosophy. He even attended the University of Minnesota for a year and studied philosophy. Number 2, the film's crew got information from the Mind Brain Behavior Institute to help inform the decisions they made when telling the story and showcasing areas of the brain. Number 3, Docter said the majority of the first 3 years of production was about taking the enormous complexity out of the human mind and reducing it down to something that you can understand in 85 minutes. Number 4, the emotions chosen to be characters are based on Dr. Robert Plutchik's theory of emotions, which features 4 sets of polar emotions on a wheel: joy versus sadness, trust versus disgust, fear versus anger, and surprise versus anticipation. But if you ask me, he missed chocolate versus vanilla, which is what I think about all day. Number 5,
with Plutchik's theory of emotions in mind, the film consulted psychologist Dr. Paul Ekman, who identifies humans as having 6 emotions, although the scientific number of emotions that humans have varies depending on who you ask.
Number 6, Dr. Ekman co-authored the book Emotional Awareness along with the Dalai Lama, who is not a real llama, which I found out more recently than I would like to admit. Number 7, Doctor was familiar with Dr. Ekman because during production on the original Toy Story, he had referenced his work on basic facial expressions. Now the two doctors are working together. You get it, guys? You get... Okay, but do you get it? Okay. Number 8, while the character designs of the emotions were meant to convey their, well, the emotion, artists also kept in mind the wide range of feelings the characters would convey. For example, they had to think about how sadness will look when she was glad, while still being sadness. You can see how confusing that would be already. Number 9, all the characters are mostly one color except for Joy. She was given blue hair and a green dress because Doctor felt that she would look too similar like Tinkerbell, which, oh my gosh, now that you think about it, she looks a lot like Tinkerbell. Number 10, when designing Disgust, there was much debate on if she should be grotesque to look at or just have an easily disgusted personality. The latter one. She's wearing that pretty dress, guys, remember? Number 11, according to Doctor, Disgust is the one who looks out most for Riley's social status at school and spends the most time making Riley look good. Which begs the question, is my Disgust on vacation? I look like I'm wearing pajamas all the time. Number 12, did you notice that the teeth on Sadness are different lengths? Well, that was intentional, as the designers were trying to make the characters look more interesting by including asymmetry. Number 13, art director Albert Lozano originally sketched Sadness in pajamas because he felt that you stay in your pajamas all day when you're sad. Eventually, this was changed to a big comfy sweater, quote unquote, one you want to hide in, a safety blanket in a way. Which, yeah, I mean, I wear pajamas all day. That doesn't mean that I am sad at all. Number 14, originally Joy was supposed to be the only character with effervescent skin because it was too expensive to add the rest of the emotions. However, when executive producer John Lasseter saw it, he said that it was great and should be put on the other characters too. Ralph Eggleston, Inside Out's production designer, said that you could basically hear the core technical staff hitting the ground and the budget going through the roof. Number 15, the idea behind giving the cast this unique texture was that they didn't want the characters to look like people with skin. but rather balls of energy. Number 16. Actor Don Knotts and his wide eyes acted as the inspiration for Fear. The outfit Fear wears is also a nod to Knotts, which if you've ever seen him in the movie Ghost and Mr. Chicken, you'll realize is a perfect comparison. Number 17. The original plan for Riley's mind was for it to be more like a city, more populated in the center while the vast wilderness of the subconscious would surround the outskirts. Number 18. When developing the world of Riley's mind, doctors specified that the film take place in the mind, not the brain, because the mind is a metaphor. Number 19. The containers for the memories were originally in jars, but Eccleston said it felt too real world. He also favored the idea of the memories being treated like almost reminiscent of a real dense spider web, which why would anyone want to remember that? That sounds horrible. Number 20. Another idea that was scrapped was the concept of an idea field, where ideas would be cultivated to sprout and grow. The idea of a checker, a character who would check if the ideas were good or bad, was also tossed around. Number 21. The shelf maze that makes up the long-term memory intentionally looks like the exterior of a brain, even though it was supposed to take place in the mind. Come on, doctor, make up your mind. Or brain. Just pick one, okay? Fact number 22. There was going to be a name and face department gag where each department hated each other, so Riley would have an incredible hard time putting names to faces. Number 23. An earlier version of the story featured a Thanksgiving play. That's right, at one point we had a little play and Riley wanted a particular part in it. I bet you it was the turkey. Number 24. There was going to be a musical cognition department where Riley would interpret what makes music different from sound. Ultimately, it was taken out because Doctor thought it would be too redundant with the section of abstract thought already implemented. Number 25. The film's composer, Michael Giacchino, also wrote the Triple Mint Gum song. Originally, it was very clever and funny, but not as memorable, so they edited it down to what we see in the film, and we hate him for it, because that song is painful. Number 26. Ever wonder why Joy doesn't send the core memories back up the tube the forgetters used to send up the Triple Mint Gum jingle? The crew of Inside Out had to address that issue themselves because they were wondering the same thing. Ultimately, they came to the conclusion that Joy couldn't trust the task to anyone but herself, which, sounds a lot like the character of Joy. Number 27. In a scrapped scene, Joy swims beneath the stream of consciousness into the realm of unconsciousness. Ooh, scary. Number 28. The train of thought was originally going to be expanded upon, namely around the joke losing your train of thought, but ultimately the director chose to go in a different direction. Number 29. In early drafts of the movie, a character called Gloom was going to be the antagonist, basically neutralizing all of the other emotions. Doctor steered away from this because he was worried that it would portray clinical depression as something that could be shaken off. Number 30. Logic was one of the 6 emotions that got cut. To a degree, they added logic. It would have made Riley seem a bit robotic. What is wrong with robots? We can still love. Number 31. In an earlier iteration of the story, the emotions had a microphone where they suggest things to Riley. This would have definitely made her appear to be more of a robot. They needed the emotions to have a relationship with Riley rather than just simply control her. Number 32. Datcher Keltner, one of the many consultants for the emotions on film, believes that love definitely should have been included as an emotion. Number 33. Some of the other imaginary friends that were ultimately cut were Mrs. Scribbles, a crayon drawing, and a corner sun, who always looks like the corner of the sun, even in full frame. Number 34. When Bill Hader was in the writer's room, an idea for a scene was kicked around that featured Joy running through a forest of dental equipment while animated balloon animals ran after her, then ultimately poop on the tools. Of course, Bill Hader came up with that scene. Number 35. The crew visited the set of Saturday Night Live to do research for the dream production portion of the film. Number 36. Doctor says recording voiceover is usually the most stressful part of the filmmaking process for him, but for Inside Out, he was excited and loved the collaborative process with the actors. Number 37. The crew struggled with making Joy relatable and appealing, and casting Amy Poehler was a big factor in making the character cool. When they told Amy the problems they were having, she said, "I think I can help you with that. I can say things that other people can't get away with," which, if you've seen her in any SNL sketch, you can say is very true. Number 38. Doctor and producer Jonas Rivera also asked Hader if he could use his working history on SNL to get Poehler to come in and voice Joy. They said, "We don't want her to think we're weird." Amy Poehler think that you're weird? Not likely, guys. Number 39. Like Hader, Poehler also joined the writer's room sometimes, and both were big influences on their final characters. Number 40. When Poehler first heard the script, she said, "Yeah, I have 2 small boys, and I literally say, don't be sad. I guess it's as easy as that, huh? Hey, Maggie. Don't be sad." She's right, I do feel better. Number 41. Phyllis Smith didn't expect sadness to play a large role as she did. She was surprised when she was the second actor listed behind Amy Poehler. Number 42. Hader describes himself as anxious and says that he would basically have a full-on panic attack before each episode of SNL, which I guess you could say was great practice for his character of fear. Number 43. Hader got the part by stalking the studio. He asked for a tour and told them he was a huge fan. He then met with Doctor and Rivera, who cast him. Good choice, guys. Also, sly move, Hader. Is that how you got to be a writer on South Park? Number 44. Hader believes Doctor is a true artist and says that he often describes things as feeling right. Number 45. Hader didn't meet Louis Black, the voice of Anger, until the film was already completed. Number 46. Black describes Pixar as a special place where you can truly see the whole creative process laid out in front of you. Number 47. Poehler loves the collaborative environment at Pixar and thinks the things they achieved are beyond her wildest dreams. Number 48. Poehler also thinks that Inside Out was the best film that Pixar has ever made, but she may be a little biased. Number 49. The voice actor of Bing Bong, Richard Kind, actually cried every time he tried to record the line 49, "Take her to the moon for me." Okay, and now I'm crying. I'm remembering that moment. We got tissues in here. Number 50. The original cut of the film had Bing Bong's final scene as 40 seconds to 1 minute longer and was much more emotional. Kind likened it to the scene in Bambi when his mother dies. Okay, guys, now I'm crying again. Number 51. Bing Bong was meant to be a surprise and was kept out of most of the pre-release marketing. Number 52. A large team of animators worked on Inside Out to give expression and personality to the characters. It took around 1 week to produce 3 seconds of animation. Woof, that is a lot of work. Number 53. 178,128 storyboard drawings were used to create the film in pre-production. Wow! That's a lot of drawings. Number 54. Doctor was apprehensive at first about beginning the film with Riley as a baby because he felt it was a bit cliche. As a result, he tested 7 or 8 different openings, but ultimately settled when writer Ronnie Del Carmen pitched the opening that we all saw. Number 55. Look closely at the memory orbs in the background, and you can see some interesting references to other Pixar movies, including the notorious Pizza Planet truck and scenes from Up. Number 56. According to Doctor, there are 2 more hidden Pizza Planet trucks somewhere in the film. Keep looking, nerds. We'll find them someday. Number 57. The headlines Anger reads in his newspaper, The Mind Reader, are events that actually happened in Riley's day. Number 58. Tri-County, the Northern California area Toy Story takes place in, is the same area the Anderson family moves to in Inside Out. This is shown by the banners in their hockey arena. Number 59. Among the many Dream posters from Dream Productions, one in particular will make that conceited cinephile friend laugh, and we all have one of those friends. It's "I'm falling for a very long time into a pit," and is modeled after none other than the classic Saul Bass poster for the Hitchcock film Vertigo. Number 60. If you look closely at Riley's classroom, you can see a poster that references the Pixar short La Luna. Number 61. Ted, the giant monster from Monsters, Inc. makes a cameo appearance as well. His legs do, as a prop at Dream Productions. Number 62. Are you wondering why some conceited cinephile friend laughs so hard at the line, "Forget it, Jake, it's Cloud Town"? Well, that's because it's an excellent reference to that classic 1974 film, Chinatown. Number 63. Pixar's good luck charm, John Ratzenberger, can be heard towards the end of the film playing Fritz, one of the control panel repairmen in Riley's headquarters. Number 64. The castle that gets smashed in Dream World is modeled after Sleeping Beauty's castle, the same one used for the Disney logo. Maybe they're trying to say Riley's outgrown her princess phase? days. Number 65. When Riley is talking to her friend on a Skype-like messaging system, one of the listed names on her laptop is Doc Pete, in obvious reference to Doctor. Number 66. The same messaging system Riley's using is also used by Trixie, the Triceratops in Toy Story 3. Number 67. When recording the short film Lava, the short before Inside Out, the traditional Hawaiian singers Juana Torres Kalali and Nupa Gregg realized they had actually attended hula school together, making them hula brother and sister, as it is traditionally called. Number 68. In the scene where Riley is at the bus stop getting ready to run away from home, you can see A113 in the background. This is a popular Easter egg referring to classroom A113, where many Pixar employees learned animation. It shows up in other Pixar films and even non-animated films like The Avengers. Number 69. Riley's house has the address of 21 Royal Street, which also so happens to be the name of Disney's new restaurant. Coincidence? I think not. Number 70. If you missed it, because I sure did, the console tints a certain color based upon the emotion using it. Number 71. In the scene where the dreams shift into nightmares, the music from the Disneyland ride, The Haunted Mansion, starts playing. Number 72. During Riley's nightmare, we are treated to a cameo by Remy from Ratatouille, as a zombie. Number 73. Jangles the Clown, as revealed by story artist Ronnie Del Carmen and Dome Shi, is directly inspired by Joe Ramp's Buttocks the Clown costume. He was meant as a tribute to the late Pixar legend. Number 74. In Riley's apartment in San Francisco, if you look on one of the tables, you can see a picture of Colette from Ratatouille on the cover of a magazine. Number 75. Riley moving to San Francisco was inspired by Doctor's own childhood, moving to Denmark and the emotions that surrounded that time of his life. But I mean, Denmark has great chocolate, so how sad was he really? Number 76. In one of Riley's memories, you can see Arlo, the protagonist of The Good Dinosaur, but only his tail and back end. Dinosaur butt. Number 77. The Luxo ball from Luxo Jr. makes an appearance as well. Number 78. If you look closely at this scene, you can see the portrait of the purple dragon Figment. Figment is the mascot of the Imagination Pavilion at Disney World's Epcot Theme Center. Number 79. Less than an hour after pitching Inside Out, Doctor and Rivera were planning an Inside Out theme park with Imagineers. Number 80. Sadness turns the emotions that she touches blue. Emotional consultants Ekman and Keltner say that this is a real occurrence in our minds. Research has shown that our current emotions can change the emotions we felt in our memories. And if I try hard enough, I can make my 6th birthday a happy one. I will get that pony. Number 81. They do, however, take issue with sadness being a drag. Studies have shown that sadness is associated with heightened psychological activity. Number 82. Rivera says that the crying Bing Bong doll is their favorite piece of merchandise. Number 83. Inside Out had the highest grossing original non-sequel property opening ever. In a world full of sequels, reboots, prequels, and adaptations, that's darn impressive. Number 84. Inside Out was the second highest grossing Pixar movie of all time. Number 1 is Toy Story 3, which is understandable. It broke my heart. Number 85. By November 8th, 2015, the film had grossed $850,761,711 worldwide. Number 86. It made more than 3 times the film's expenditure of $245 million. Guess those extra skin effects were worth it after all. Number 87. Since the movie's premiere, people all over the world are now using the characters as a device to talk to kids about their own emotions and mental illness. Number 88. The crew knew that they had done something special when a Pixar employee told the story of his son, who was afraid of diving into a pool, but worked up the courage to do it after seeing the movie. Aww. Number 89. Inside Out has been universally acclaimed by critics, even managing to land an impressive score of 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 90. Inside Out is also one of AFI's top 10 films of 2015. Number 91. Newsday named it the best film of the year. Number 92. It's been nominated for 2 Oscars, Best Animated Feature and Best Original Screenplay. Number 93. It was also the Golden Globe winner for Best Animated Feature. Number 94. Inside Out was nominated for 14 Annie Awards, animation's version of the Oscars, including Best Animated Feature. Number 95. The film has made the top 10 lists of, wait for it, the National Board of Review, the New York Times, Los Angeles Times, Entertainment Weekly, Film Comment, Rolling Stones, Variety, US Weekly, The Washington Post, IndieWire, IMDb, Southeastern Film Critics Association, The Wall Street Journal, and The Atlantic. Haha, it was a kind of a big deal. Number 96. It won Best Animated Feature at the Critics' Choice Awards and was nominated for Best Original Screenplay and Best Comedy. Number 97. It was also given the Best Original Screenplay Award by the Washington, D.C. Area Film Critics Association. Number 98. Utah film student Jordan Hanson created a 15-minute edit of Inside Out, removing the inside part of the film. The video went viral early January 2016, and it highlights just how sad Riley's journey truly was. Number 99. In the closing credit scene, the audience sees the headquarters for a bunch of other characters. There was an idea of showing the headquarters for a goldfish, which would have been a console but with no emotions, just blinking lights. I mean, it was just a goldfish. Number 100. With small cultural differences in mind, the team made 28 graphic changes to 45 shots in total. Number 101. Instead of broccoli in Japan, Riley refuses to eat green bell peppers. In some countries, Riley's dad was shown watching soccer instead of hockey. And in countries where they read in the opposite direction, they had to change the animation of Bing Bong when he's spelling out danger. Number 102. Inside Out was released on Blu-ray and DVD on November 3rd, 2015, and included a new short, Riley's First Date. Number 103. In Riley's First Date, Riley is now 12 years old, and the boy from the ending sequence comes knocking at her door. Woot woo! I still can't whistle. Number 104. You can collect all the figurines and play as your own favorite motions in the Disney Infinity 3.0 game. Number 105. 103 babies were born to studio staff members during the production of the film. Wow, that's a lot of babies. Number 106. Pixar doesn't think about trends or audiences in development of the film. They just try to make a movie they want to see. Number 107. When asked about the possibility of an Inside Out sequel, Doctor said, "Our philosophy at Pixar has always been, let's find something that's really worth talking about. Then we'll put some thought into it."
Ever wonder what's going on inside of that head of yours? What about Pixar's latest film, Inside Out? We've reached deep in the back of the mind of Pixar's latest blockbuster and pulled out 107 facts that you should know about Inside Out. Number 1. Inside Out is based on an idea director Pete Docter had, exploring thoughts and emotions in the mind. He saw little quirky things that all people do, like getting a song stuck in their heads or giggling uncontrollably, and thought, I want to take a look at that and explain that. John Lasseter described the film early on as very, very clever and truly unlike anything you've ever seen, yet it explained things you've seen. Number 2. So far, reception for the film has been overwhelmingly positive. It's been praised for being smart and stunningly original. Number 3. The film is set in the mind of an 11-year-old girl named Riley Anderson, who is voiced by 16-year-old Caitlin Diaz. Number 4. Riley is guided by her personified emotions, joy, fear, anger, disgust, and sadness, who live in the control center in her mind, dubbed Headquarters. Number 5. Joy, Riley's main and most important emotion, is played by Amy Poehler. As long as Riley's happy, so is Joy. Number 6. Fear is played by Bill Hader, anger is Lewis Black, disgust is played by Mindy Kaling, and sadness is Phyllis Smith. Forget Headquarters, I've seen some of these familiar faces around The Office. Number 7. Speaking of The Office, there's another show having a mini reunion. Rashida Jones is the voice of Cool Girl's emotions, which means that Parks and Recreation's best besties, Leslie and Ann, are in the same movie. Number 8. When things don't go according to plan, anger has a tendency to literally explode, with flames bursting from his head. Doesn't sound like someone I'd want to stand next to. Unless it's cold outside. Number 9. Fear's main job is to protect Riley. He looks out for potential disasters and evaluates possible dangers. Number 10. According to her description, disgust keeps Riley from being poisoned, both physically and socially. Where was she when I had that bad seafood the other night? Number 11. Sadly, none of Riley's other emotions quite understand what sadness's role is at Headquarters. Joy's even checked around for the answer. Number 12. Some other locations in Riley's head include Imagination Land, Dream Productions, and Long-Term Memory, which I'm actually lacking. Number 13. Inside Out's world premiere took place on May 18th, 2015 at the 68th Cannes Film Festival. Its wide theatrical release is set for June 19th, 2015. Number 14. I gotta say, this film is quite the tearjerker, and even its stars aren't immune. When the story was pitched to Mindy Kaling, she cried. Then she handed its creators their slogan by saying, "I think it's great that you guys are making a film that shows that it's difficult to grow up and it's okay to be sad about it." According to Doctor, they were like, quick, write that down.
And they showed me the story and I started weeping.
Number 15. Neuroscientists were consulted to help make the film's setting of an 11-year-old girl's brain believable. The team also interviewed child psychologists and psychiatrists, spent months designing and redesigning set elements, and even swapped out a key character. Number 16. The film's creators also looked to their daughters and their friends for inspiration. According to Doctor, people think we make this stuff up. Most of it is real life. Number 17. In particular, Pete Doctor's daughter, Ellie, was a driving force. At the age of 9, she voiced Ellie in the film Up. As she got older, Doctor noticed that she was a lot less energetic and reserved. He remembers thinking, what's going on in her head? Number 18. The film's soundtrack was composed by Michael Giacchino, and it released on June 16, 2015. Number 19. This is Michael Giacchino's 5th collaboration with Pixar. He'd previously worked on The Incredibles, Ratatouille, Up, and Cars 2. Number 20. Originally from the Midwest, Minnesota to be more exact, Riley and her family relocate to San Francisco for her father's new job, which is where the film takes place. Number 21. Analysts have predicted that the film will make $250 million on domestic ticket sales alone. That's the power of Pixar, baby. Number 22. The film was first announced at Disney's D23 Expo in 2011. It was presented with the working title of The Untitled Pixar Movie That Takes You Inside the Mind. That's a mouthful. Number 23. The film's real title was officially announced via Pixar's Twitter on April 17th, 2013. Number 24. Inside Out is the second Pixar film to have a female protagonist, the first being Brave. Number 25. Inside Out's teaser trailer features snippets from every Pixar movie prior, except for Toy Story 2 and Cars 2. Number 26. Sometimes our favorite part of a Pixar movie is the preceding short film. Inside Out's short is titled Lava and is the love story between two volcanoes? It's described as a musical love story taking place over millions of years that is inspired by the isolated beauty of tropical islands and the explosive allure of ocean volcanoes. Number 27. The volcanoes in the short are named Uka and Leili, a pun on ukulele. Number 28. In France, the movie is titled Vice Versa. In Japan, it's Insaido Hedo. I'm sure you can guess what that translates to, but just in case, it's Inside Head. Number 29. The song that plays during the film's teaser trailer is Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith, one of my all-time favorites. The song from the film's second trailer is More Than a Feeling by Boston, one of my least favorites. Number 30. The newspaper Anger reads is called The Mind Reader. Number 31. A fun detail that is in the US version of the film's trailer is Riley's dad's emotions are watching ice hockey. In the UK trailer, they're watching a soccer match, or should we say football? Number 32. Coincidentally, or maybe not, director Pete Doctor was an animator on Epcot's former attraction, Cranium Command. The theater presentation also explored the inside of a person's head and personified different parts of the human body, such as the left and right brain. Number 33. Pete Doctor had the most fun bringing anger to life in the film. He said it's likely because Louis Black was so great for the role. Number 34. Each emotion's design was based on a shape. Joy is a star, sadness is a teardrop, fear is a raw nerve, anger is a fire brick, and disgust is a broccoli. Number 35. Despite what you might think after hearing that and watching the film, Pete Doctor loves broccoli. Eat your greens, kids. Number 36. Paula Poundstone voices Forgetter Paula and Bobby Moynihan voices Forgetter Bobby. Wonder where they got their characters' names from. Number 37. Similar to that, Frank Oz and Dave Goelz play Subconscious Guard Frank and Subconscious Guard Dave. Fun thing to note is that Frank Oz and Dave Goelz are both Muppeteers. Number 38. Doctor was inspired to pursue a career in filmmaking through Dumbo, Cinderella, Ichabod Crane, classic Disney features, and the Warner Brothers shorts. Number 39. Inside Out is the 4th Pixar film with a PG rating, following in the footsteps of The Incredibles, Up, and Brave. It received the rating on the basis of mild thematic elements and some action. Number 40. Inside Out is the first Pixar film to have as many sneak peeks as it does. I guess the studio is just as excited for its release as we are. Number 41. The Chinese food boxes that Riley and her family eat out of have made appearances in several other Pixar films, most notably A Bug's Life. Number 42. In the film, Riley's hockey rink is located in real life where the Walt Disney Family Museum stands fans in San Francisco. Number 43. According to Pete Docter, the most difficult challenge when directing this film was creating a completely new and made-up world. It wasn't something they could go out and find a reference for in real life, like a toy store or a university or even Scotland. Number 44. Some of the memory orbs seen in the film contain images from Up's famous married life sequence. Number 45. A playground is seen in Riley's memory orb that is identical to the one from Sunnyside Daycare in Toy Story 3. The only difference is the slide, which is straight instead of coiled. Sounds like Riley does have something to be sad about. We all know coiled slides are way more fun. Number 46. Pete Docter has said that in the film, moving is a metaphor for growing up. If that's the case, I never want to move. Number 47. Inside Out took 5 years to complete. Docter first pitched the idea to John Lasseter in June of 2009. Number 48. Do you remember those adorable birds from Pixar's short For the Birds? Of course you do. Well, during Riley's family trip to San Francisco, guess who you can spot on a telephone wire? The birds. Hitchcock would be mighty proud. Number 49. We know background characters aren't all that important, but you may want to keep an eye on them during Inside Out. One of Riley's classmates is wearing a camo pattern composed of Toy Story characters. Number 50. We're pretty much halfway. Another one of her classmates wears a shirt with the same skull motif that's seen on Sid's shirt in Toy Story, and his brief cameo in Toy Story 3. Number 51. When asked about his hopes that Inside Out will help kids and adults better understand emotions, Pete Docter stated that being aware of how people think and interact gives you a deeper understanding of life. Number 52. In early story outlines, Riley was going to be transported into her mind. There, she would meet her emotions and travel alongside them. Number 53. So we mentioned a few background characters, but have you been paying attention to background cars? Some of the ones in Inside Out are actually reused models from Cars 2. Number 54. Also, if you're super perceptive, you'll notice that some background cars have bumper stickers from the movie Cars. Number 55. Riley Anderson's last name comes from Pixar employee Darla K. Anderson and Toy Story 3 character Bonnie Anderson. Number 56. Joy is a huge fan of Rainbow Unicorn from Dream Productions and loved her performance in Fairy Dream Adventure Part 7. Now there's a movie I really want to see made. Number 57. Rainbow Unicorn is the second unicorn character in Pixar's films. The first one, Buttercup from Toy Story 3. So who's your favorite? I mean, Rainbow Unicorn has my mom's hair, circa the 1980s, but Buttercup's nostrils are hearts. Come on! Does that make everything smell like love? Number 58. The globe in Riley's classroom is identical to the one that appeared in Andy's room in all 3 Toy Story films. Number 59. Riley's dad works at a company called Brang. What does that mean? Well, nothing. Brang is a nonsense word that creators came up with thinking it sounded like it could be a startup in the San Francisco scene. Number 60. There is a box in Imagination Land that features a clownfish in the title, Find Me. A clear allusion to Finding Nemo. Number 62. Keep your eyes peeled. A sign on one of the parking meters in San Francisco humorously reads, quarters and dollar coins or barter during Burning Man. Number 63. Inside Out is part of a push by Disney and Pixar to make films with more diverse characters. John Lasseter has said, it's very important to us to have female and ethnic characters. Number 64. Inside Out has been more editing dependent than almost any other film Docter has worked on, largely because it's an ensemble comedy. According to him, the difference between something being funny or not is sometimes 2 frames. For those of you who don't know, 2 frames is only a 1/12 of a second. Talk about a split second. Number 65. Fun fact, Pixar's inner team of creative leaders is called the Brain Trust. I wonder if they knew they'd be working on a film set inside the brain when they coined the term. Number 66. Inside Out is Pixar's 15th film. It's also predicted to become their 15th consecutive blockbuster. Not too shabby, Pixar, not too shabby. Number 67. Director Pete Docter joined Pixar back in 1994, becoming its 3rd animator. Number 68. John Lasseter has said that Inside Out was one of the most difficult films the studio has ever made. The studio knew from the first time the idea was pitched that it had the potential to be something special. At the same time, they knew it would be really hard. Number 69. The creators aimed for the film to make basic scientific sense. For example, it's thought by scientists that short-term memories are converted to long-term ones during sleep. So when Riley goes to sleep, her memories traverse through chutes and ramps to represent this. Number 70. We all know the film follows joy and sadness as they navigate through Riley's psyche, but did you know that they weren't the original pair picked? For a while, the creators thought that joy and fear would be the lost emotions because it seemed like the funniest choice. Number 71. Sadness scooted into the picture when Docter went for a Sunday stroll and spiraled into a negative train of thought. He was certain he was going to get fired. He was going to miss his friends, which he had happy, angry, and sad times with. Doctor came to the realization that Joy needed to understand that it's okay for sadness to be included at the controls once in a while. Number 72. Are you a fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Then take special note of mind worker cop Jake because he's voiced by the band's bassist, Flea. Number 73. The memory orbs in the film were inspired by George Rhodes' kinetic ball sculptures. Number 74. Based on research, creators originally thought they should work up to having 27 emotions in the film. As they wrote the film, though, they realized it was way too complicated. Number 75. The film's creators note that scientists point out that they're missing surprise, but they found the emotion too similar to their portrayal of fear. They also dabbled with adding in pride, but found their final choices to be a good blend. Number 76. For the mind's designs, creators tried to think of what an 11-year-old girl would be interested in without moving into the overly cute or cliche. Number 77. Producer Jonas Rivera likes to joke that it looks like an Apple store meets It's a Small World. Number 78. Director Pete Docter voices Riley's dad's anger, and co-director Ronnie Del Carmen provided some additional voices. Gotta keep it in the fam. Number 79. One of the film's writers, Josh Cooley, also lent his voice to the film. He plays Jangles the Clown. Number 80. Phyllis Smith was chosen to play Sadness after producer Jonas Rivera saw her performance in the lunch scene of Bad Teacher. He called up Pete Docter and said, "I think we found our Sadness." Number 81. Director Pete Docter has been nominated for 6 Oscars, one of which he won for Up. Here's to hoping that Inside Out will help him nab a second and maybe even a third. Number 82. The film's Blu-ray release will include a short set in the same world titled Riley's First Date. It'll be directed by Josh Cooley, the film's head of story. Number 83. In an attempt to better represent what emotions would look like, animators tried to make the characters appear as though they were composed of energy and moving particles. If you pay attention, when the emotions move, you'll see them release tiny particles of color. Number 84. The emotions can use idea bulbs to help give Riley new ideas. Number 85. Joy was the first emotion conjured up after Riley's birth. She was followed closely by sadness. Number 86. As they were researching, creators were told by psychologists that no one on Earth is more emotionally attuned to other people than a girl between the ages of 12 and 16, which helped affirm that they were exploring the right territory. Number 87. Bing Bong, Riley's imaginary friend, is a mix between an elephant, a cat, and cotton candy. He can also squeal like a dolphin. Number 88. Why is Bing Bong composed of cotton candy, you might ask? Let's see what Pete Docter had to say. Because I like cotton candy. Number 89. Judging from the fact that he thinks danger spells shortcut, Bing Bong is illiterate. Number 90. Jangles the Clown is one of Riley's darkest fears. After being traumatized by his real-life counterpart at her 3rd birthday party, she kept a version of him in subconscious. Number 91. When the first clips of Inside Out were shown at the 2013 D23 Expo, Disgust looked a little different. She wore a purple dress instead of green, had longer hair, and lacked her now notably long eyelashes. Number 92. Even prior to this, some of the film's earliest concept art had Disgust as a male character. Number 93. Pete Docter has said that the emotions' genders were intuitively chosen. Anger felt very masculine to him, while sadness felt a little more feminine. Disgust was driven by how right Mindy Kaling was for the role. Number 94. Disgust's belt buckle is shaped like a D. I wonder what that stands for. Number 95. On top of voice acting, Bill Hader helped out with the film's story. According to Jonas Rivera, he'd come up and stay for a week and pitch in story ideas. Number 96. Riley is the first ever Pixar character to also be a location. Now that's something to put on your resume. Number 97. Pete Docter has said the film story was one of the most challenging he'd ever had to put together because of the dual intertwining plots simultaneously following the emotions and Riley. Number 98. On to the final 10. The film's animation style took inspiration from classic cartoons and creators like Chuck Jones, Tex Avery, Milt Kahl, and John Sibley. They added more stretching and exaggerated movements than usual for Pixar. Number 99. Riley is the 4th Pixar character to have her butt shown. The first 3, Harris, Hubert, and Hamish from Brave. Number 100. If you have incredible hearing, you may pick up on the fact that Baby Riley's yells after she refuses her broccoli are a reused recording of Boo shouting in Monsters Incorporated. Number 101. Creators actually came up with a number of imaginary friends, but Bing Bong was the only one to make the final cut. The others were just not useful enough to the story. Number 102. Though Riley's emotions are mixed in gender, her father's emotions are all male and her mother's emotions are all female. This was done for quick readability. Docter acknowledges that it's a little phony, but hopefully people don't mind. Number 103. If you pay close attention to the scene where Riley is building a castle of cards, certain ones have R's on them and depict Riley. Riley's mom can be seen on the queen cards, and her dad can be seen on the king cards. Now that's a custom card set I'd like to have. but with my face instead. Number 104. As mentioned earlier, Riley's lead emotion is joy. Her father's is anger, and her mother's is sadness. Number 105. The film's art book reveals that Joy was originally going to be able to appear in the real world rather than just the mind world. Also, Riley entering depression was going to be a larger part of the story. Number 106. For each second of the film, 24 images of over 2 million pixels each are rendered. It has a running time of 102 minutes. You do the math. Finishing up the list with number 107, approximately 177,096 storyboards were drawn for the film. Of those, 127,781 were delivered to editorial.
Now that the facts are all laid out, let's get to theorizing. Here's a theory from the first movie. Are Riley and Bonnie related? Let's see what we think.
What could Pixar's newest film, Inside Out, and their Academy Award-winning film, Toy Story 3, have in common? Aside from both of them making me openly weep in a crowded movie theater. If you think about it, Riley and Bonnie do have a lot in common. Most notably, their last name, Anderson. So could Riley from Inside Out and Bonnie from Toy Story 3 actually be related? What could even point us to this conspiracy? Well, the obvious. Both girls share a last name. And since there are only a few human characters in Pixar films that even have a last name, the fact that these two share the same one must mean something. Additionally, both girls live in the Bay Area. A key part of Inside Out is Riley's big move to San Francisco. And though it's never explicitly stated where Toy Story 3 is located, it's been implied that both Andy and Bonnie's families live just across the bay from Riley, in or around Point Richmond, based on a street sign in Andy's room that reads West Cutting, which, fun fact, is a street on which the original Pixar headquarters was located. This not good enough for you? Well, it has been stated several times throughout the Toy Story trilogy that the characters live in a tri-county area. According to TV tropes, a tri-county area is a term for an area that is bigger than a small town, but not a huge metro area, even though Riley lives in San Francisco. If you look at this banner in the back of our hockey rink, it says that they are actually in a tri-county area. An awfully big coincidence. Another big similarity between the two girls is this memory we see Joy holding. In it, we can see a playground that looks pretty similar to Sunnyside Daycare. Not to mention, both Riley and Bonnie have a goofy personality and a huge imagination. Plus, they do love their imaginary friends. So could these two Pixar girls really be related? I'm not quite sure exactly what it is that makes people so convinced that all Pixar movies must be connected, but I'm not complaining. You have to admit, related or not, Bonnie and Riley do share a goofball island. But could this mean that they're actually cousins? Well, let's start with the location. Riley is definitely in the middle of San Francisco, which is far from being a tri-county area, seeing as it is a major city. And it was actually confirmed on the Walt Disney Family Museum's Instagram that Riley's hockey rink is supposed to be in the Presidio district of San Francisco, which is not a tri-county area, but is in fact where the Walt Disney Family Museum is located in real life. And in fiction, a tri-county area is a very common and general term for a location. So unless both girls being located in or around a tri-county area links them together, they may as well be in the same universe as, say, Phineas and Ferb. And just because they live close to each other, that has no implication on their relation. Family members often live cities, states, and even countries apart. The alleged memory of Sunnyside Daycare really couldn't work either. It's very clear in Inside Out that Riley grew up in Minnesota, so why would she attend a daycare in California? Plus, the only visible difference between these playgrounds is one has a curly slide and the other one doesn't. We really can't let that one slide. And finally, regarding the strangest coincidence, their last name. Darla K. Anderson, the producer of many Pixar films, including Toy Story 3, has had several characters named after her, including Darla from Finding Nemo, but also Bonnie Anderson and Riley Anderson.
And to round out the video, let's take a look at 107 facts, this time about the sequel, Inside Out 2.
Number 1. Inside Out 2 was first announced at the D23 Expo in 2022. Pete Docter took the stage and was soon joined by Amy Poehler to break the news. In the announcement, Docter revealed that he would be passing the directorial torch to Kelsey Mann. Meg Lefauve would be returning to write the film, and Mark Nielsen would be producing it. Number 2. This will be Kelsey Mann's first director credit for a feature-length Pixar film. Mann previously directed the Party Central short based on the Monsters, Inc. universe, and was the story supervisor for Monsters University, The Good Dinosaur, and Onward. Number 3. In order to get things right for Inside Out 2, the people behind the film consulted Bay Area teenagers to make sure they properly represented 13-year-olds, and didn't make the film cringy. According to Mann, quote, "I am not 13 years old anymore. There's still a 13-year-old in me, I can tap into that, but I can only tap into it so much, especially if you want everyone to relate to this. I'm like, I need to go straight to the source." Number 4. Many of the original voices return to reprise their roles. However, Riley's original voice, Caitlin Diaz, will not be returning to voice Riley in Inside Out 2. Instead, Kensington Tallman will be replacing her in the role. Number 5. Of the core emotions, joy, sadness, and anger will be reprised by Amy Poehler, Phyllis Smith, and Louis Black, respectively. Number 6. Mindy Kaling is not returning as the voice of Disgust. Instead, Liza Lapira joins the cast as the new voice for Disgust. Number 7. Bill Hader also isn't making a return for Inside Out 2, so Fear will instead be played by Tony Hale. Number 8. With Riley at the onset of puberty, Inside Out 2 introduces new, more complicated emotions as Riley starts to grow up. These more nuanced emotions start to take over fast, and I mean fast. Number 9. When creating the new emotions, new shapes were created by the team to complement the existing shapes of the core emotions. Number 10. New to the crew, we have Anxiety, who is played by Maya Hawke. You probably know her name from a little-known series called Stranger Things. Number 11. As described by production designer Jason Deemer, Anxiety is orange with electric shape language, tense and shaky. You'll always see the whites of her eyes, and her feather-like hair betrays her constant movements. Number 12. An early version of Anxiety, shown by Kelsey Mann, was kinda like a kaiju/monster that grew the more anxious Riley felt. It would eventually shrink once you learned how to control it. Number 13. Another early concept was a version of Anxiety that pretended to be what Mann calls the Transitional Integration Advisor, or TIA for short, or TIA. Number 14. According to story supervisor McKenna Harris, Anxiety is the antagonist, but she isn't the bad guy. Reason being, quote, "We felt that Anxiety can't be all bad. It serves a purpose in our lives, so we treat Anxiety with empathy and compassion in our story to make sure that the character isn't a classic film villain. She's someone who wants the best for Riley." Number 15. When Anxiety was first introduced in the film, she carries so many luggage bags, which is a representation of emotional baggage that comes with anxiety. Number 16. A detail you might notice as you watch is that as the film progresses and Anxiety takes root in Riley, her surroundings also start to become more orange, which includes the locker room and hockey uniforms at camp. Number 17. Another newcomer, Embarrassment, is, quote, pink like blush with a soft and round shape to evoke his reticence and timidness. Number 18. Embarrassment is voiced by Paul Walter Hauser, who's had roles in Orion and the Dark, Cobra Kai, and Disney's Cruella live-action film. Number 19. Next up is Ennui, who Deemer describes as having, quote, the posture of a limp noodle. She's rarely interested enough to lift her own head. Number 20. Ennui is a loan word from French and is used as a mix of boredom, weariness, and angst. It's probably also the reason why Ennui has a French accent throughout the film. Number 21. Early concept art of Ennui shows her in a pinkish-reddish hue, but she's bluish-gray in the final film. Number 22. According to Deemer, quote, "We ultimately went with this dark, desaturated blue-grayish shade. If I had to give it a name, it'd be blah." Number 23. Adele Exarchopoulos lends her voice for Ennui. Keeping to the Disney family, she also lent her voice as the French voice for Ember in Elemental. Number 24. Ennui was actually one of the emotions that didn't make it into the first film. There is a deleted scene that features a few seconds with that version of Ennui. Number 25. Lastly, we have Envy, who Deemer says, quote, "Envy is teal in color and a smaller, sprouting mushroom shape to juxtapose against the rest of the cast. Naturally, she wishes she were taller and less childlike. She may be small, but she knows what she wants, and is always looking at what other people have." Number 26. Envy has big, longing eyes filled with desire. She only has 4 fingers on each hand because she always desires something other people have, which is 5 fingers on each hand. Number 27. Envy is the shortest emotion, which means that she constantly has to look up to everyone else. Get it? Number 28. In some concepts from Inside Out, Envy was originally portrayed as a slick, nefarious-looking businessman or a member of the mob. You decide. I just think he looks a little suspect. Of course, that version of Envy did not make it into Inside Out 2, and instead, we get this great character. Number 29. Envy is voiced by Emmy Award-winning actor Ayo Edebiri. She also voiced Gloria Grant in Across the Spider-Verse and April O'Neil in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle film. I know her from The Bear. Number 30. Oh, wait, there's actually one more new emotion that makes an appearance in Inside Out 2, and that's nostalgia. This brings the total count of emotions in Riley's mind to 10, double that of the first film. Number 31. Nostalgia wears glasses that are rose in color, which is supposed to represent rose-tinted glasses, which is the act of seeing past events in a positive light. It's like when people are like, oh, you're so nostalgic for this. And it's just like, yeah. I remember when, and it's just like, was it really like that? Number 32. Several concepts for nostalgia include different shaped glasses, different hairstyles, a nose, and even a more sausage-like shape. Kind of like a minion from Despicable Me. Number 33. Nostalgia is voiced by June Squibb, who also provided the voice for Margaret in Toy Story 4. Number 34. Director Kelsey Mann said that Inside Out 2 was originally going to have 9 new emotions. That seems like a lot, but considering that the first Inside Out was going to feature 27 emotions at one point, that number's nothing. Number 35. Guilt was one of those cut emotions. Early concept shown off by character designer Crystal Kung show Guilt wearing something heavy, be it a backpack or a ball and chain. This seems to play along with the term emotional baggage, which you can see was transferred to anxiety in the final film. Number 36. Similar to the other characters, Guilt played on specific shapes, such as a tiny circle paired with a huge shape like a triangle or square. The mismatch seems to play on the imbalance of this emotion, like he's carrying something. Number 37. Another of these cut emotions was suspicion. You can see one common theme with all of the art for suspicion, and it's that they all have eyes that clearly don't trust anyone. There's also the biblically accurate suspicion, featuring multiple eyes. Number 38. Awe was another one of these cut emotions. Their designs mostly featured a wide-eyed character with their mouth open or jaws dropped to different extents. Personally, I think these are perfect, and they definitely show the feeling of awe. Number 39. Schadenfreude is one emotion that was a concept for the first Inside Out, was cut, and was also in the running for Inside Out 2 before being cut as well. Schadenfreude is the German expression to feel joy in someone else's misfortune. Number 40. According to Mann, Schadenfreude would have been a German-styled character with a German accent. He mentions that in the concepts, there was a scene where fear hit his head, and Schadenfreude liked that. Number 41. Mark Nielsen mentions that there was also a jealousy emotion which would have been twins with envy, and other characters would have confused the two of them. In the end, they cut jealousy because they found that jealousy was a completely different emotion from envy, so the twin thing didn't quite pan out. Number 42. However, the one emotion that seemingly got very far in the concept stage is shame, as they're shown in art as part of the crew of new emotions. They sport long hair and were dark gray in color. Also, please note that I'm only assuming it got very far because it was in later concept arts. Like, no other concept character was part of this particular concept art. Number 43. Kelsey Mann decided to cut out some of these more negative emotions to make things more comedic. According to Mann, it was not fun, it was too heavy. Number 44. Instead, the emotions that Mann decided to keep were more associated with growing up, and fit in perfectly as Riley goes through puberty. Number 45. Not only do we get new emotions, but we also get some new characters that'll play a pivotal part in Riley's development. Two of those characters are Riley's best friends, Bree and Grace, who are played by Samaya Nuruddin Green and Grace Liu, respectively. Number 46. Valentina Ortiz makes her debut as well. She's one of Riley's hockey idols in school. She's voiced by Lilimar Hernandez, who also plays Sophia in the Baymax series, and, this one's just for me, Giovanna in Guilty Gear Strive. Number 47. Coach Roberts, the hockey camp coach, is another character important to Riley's growth. She's played by Yvette Nicole Brown, who's played Helen from Drake and Josh, among many other roles. I chose Helen because that is probably my favorite role of hers. Number 48. In the film, you'll discover that the core emotions, joy, sadness, anger, fear, disgust, soon become suppressed emotions. Where do you keep suppressed emotions? Well, locked up in a mind vault, of course. And eagle-eyed watchers may catch that the vault Joy and the gang are locked up in is Vault ACXIII, which in Roman numerals is A113, a classic Pixar Easter egg. If you don't know what A113 is, it's the number of the animation classroom at CalArts. where a lot of members of Pixar are from. Number 49, production designer Jason Deemer mentions that the shot of the seal of Riley seen when the suppressed emotions are about to enter the vault is a nod to Terry Gilliam's film Brazil. Number 50, the suppressed emotions aren't the only ones in the vault. Along with them are some of Riley's locked up secrets, and one secret is Bluefy, a character from Bluefy's House, one of Riley's favorite TV shows from her childhood. Bluefy gives off vibes similar to Dora from Dora the Explorer, Blue from Blue's Clues, and many, many more. Number 51, just like said characters, Bluefy breaks the fourth wall and addresses the audience directly. This is a common trope found in many shows for kids. Number 52, Bluefy is the first traditionally drawn character in a feature-length Pixar film. However, it isn't their first traditionally drawn character, they've done it for shorts as well. Number 53, in his concept art, Bluefy can be seen striking a pose that looks similar to Mickey's. Number 54, Bluefy was voiced by Ren Funches, who's provided voice work in BoJack Horseman, Adventure Time, We Bare Bears, and for Disney, The Lion Guard. Number 55, of course you can't talk about Bluefy without Pouchy, the pouch sidekick that serves a similar role as a backpack from Dora the Explorer. Number 56, whenever someone needs something from Pouchy, all they gotta say is, "Oh, Pouchy!" And Pouchy comes to aid them. This is similar to how Mickey Mouse says, "Oh, Toodles!" to get Toodles' attention in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Number 57, Pouchy is voiced by SNL star James Austin Johnson. Number 58, move over, imaginary boyfriend. We've got Lance Slashblade now. Lance Slashblade appears as one of Riley's fictional crushes and has echoes of protagonists from JRPGs such as Final Fantasy. Number 59, according to Kelsey Mann, Lance Slashblade was created by story artist McKenna Harris. Number 60, animator David Torres said in an interview that the team had to deliberately lower their visual standards so that they could craft Lance. For one, Lance's frame rate is lower and movements are less smooth compared to the other characters. Number 61, Lance Slashblade's aesthetic emulates many old video games, particularly from the 6th generation of consoles, which is the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, and you'll notice that he has a lower poly count compared to everyone else. Number 62, Kelsey Mann states that I did a drawing of all three of them, and Lance was always there. We always knew he'd be a warrior, and somebody's like, he should have a giant sword. Huge one. Number 63. Speaking of his sword, you'll notice that outside of just being a blade, his sword also has small details that make it look like a hockey stick. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was called the hockey blade or the blades of ice or something like that, because it's like how there's the gun blade, the key blade, what else? The ice blade, hockey blade. Number 64. A nice little detail about Lance Slashblade is that his hair clips through his character model, just like a lot of characters in JRPGs. Number 65. Okay, last video game related fact about Lance Slashblade, because he is my favorite. He has limits to his movement, and can get stuck in invisible barriers while moving around. He also moves around in 90-degree angles like all of those old video games as well, so his movement isn't like omnidirectional like most modern games. Number 66. In an interview, Deemer stated that we were asked to do a digitally simple thing. We had more meetings about that character and how much pixelation was too much. There were about 14 people in the room for about 12 weeks wondering, what do we mean by not as good looking quality? And where do we land? 12 weeks! That's nuts, but it all worked out because in my opinion, Lance was perfect. Number 67. Lance Slashblade was voiced by Yang Ya, veteran voice actor and fellow YouTuber. Number 68. The last vaulted character is Deep Dark Secret. As his name implies, he holds Riley's deepest and darkest secret. Number 69. Deep Dark Secret is voiced by none other than Paul Walter Hauser, who also voiced Embarrassment. Funny how the two quietest but biggest characters are voiced by the same person. Number 70. If you want to know what the Deep Dark Secret is, you can see the reveal in the post-credits scene featuring the Deep Dark Secret, or, spoiler alert, for those of you that don't want to know the secret, Riley burnt the carpet. That's it. Number 71. Imagination Land makes a return from the first film, but it isn't what it used to be. Instead of the bright and cheery environment filled with loads of positive imaginations, we instead see that anxiety has taken over and it's a dark land filled with negativity. Number 72. While in Imagination Land, we see Mount Crushmore, the top 4 crushes in Riley's life. Lance Slashblade makes an appearance, but so does the kid that appears at the end of Inside Out, Jordan. Number 73. Anxiety's takeover of Imagination Land includes workers constantly drawing up new anxiety-induced emotions. One of these workers is number 87, which was shaped to look like Ralph Eggleston, a Pixar art director, storyboard artist, and production designer, and a key individual behind the look and feel of the world of Inside Out. Unfortunately, Eggleston passed away before Inside Out 2. Number 74. In the film, Joy breaks Anxiety's control over these workers. In a move similar to the 1984 Apple ad, one of these workers throws a chair at the massive monitor showing Anxiety's face. Number 75. Also, for a split second, one of the monitors in the room has a parody of the distracted boyfriend meme. Number 76. At one point in the film, Riley has to think of different ideas to impress the hockey coach in order to get into the high school hockey team. She starts to brainstorm different ideas, which manifests as a literal storm of light bulbs inside her mind. These light bulbs represent her ideas, which is similar to how light bulbs are used when people say, "I've got an idea." Number 77. Towards the end of the film, Anxiety tries to help Riley through her panic attack, but in doing so, she creates a literal whirlwind of emotion. Number 78. At the end of the film, in order to calm down, Anxiety takes some anxiety, or anxiety, and calms herself in a massage chair. Number 79. The team that Riley plays on, the Foghorns, have a Q*bert-like character as their mascot. Number 80. Riley's number on the Foghorns is 28, which represents Inside Out 2's spot as the 28th Pixar film. Number 81. The jersey number was actually a last-minute change to accommodate the fact that Elio was delayed to after Inside Out 2. If it hadn't, Riley's number would be 29. Number 82. In the hockey rink, you can spot an advertisement for Spinney's Pizza, which is a nod to the late Carol Spinney, the puppeteer for Big Bird. Number 83. The Under Armour that Riley and her hockey team wear is the brand DMR, which is a nod to Jason Deemer. Number 84. In the quick montage of Riley growing up, she's shown to have outgrown her favorite shirt. This rainbow shirt is the same shirt she wore in the first film and is also the one shown to represent the colors of her core emotions. Number 85. When Joy hands over binoculars to Sadness so that she can take a closer look at Family Island, the binoculars look exactly like Lenny from Toy Story. Number 86. If you thought you forgot about the Triple Dent Gum tune, it makes a comeback in Inside Out 2 as one of the memories that the core emotions send back to the control room. Number 87. You can spot a Four Town poster right above Riley's bed before she goes to sleep. According to Deemer, this poster is for the Four Town reunion tour, which is kind of like how the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC have reunion tours and they're like really old. They're really old now, but they were popular in the 2000s and late 90s. I'm old. Number 88. When Riley wakes up, you'll notice that the shirt she wears is from Brang, her dad's company. Is this the exact same shirt her dad wore in the first film? Who knows? Number 89. The Pizza Planet truck makes a return, this time as a piece of origami in Joy's area of the room they rest in. Number 90. But what else makes a return? None other than Bing Bong. Bing Bong can also be seen in Joy's area of the bedroom. Number 91. When the mine workers come in to renovate the control center, you'll notice that Joe's piano from Soul comes crashing down from the sky. Number 92. TikTok taught me this. When Riley's parents are about to drop off the kids to camp, Riley's dad asks Riley's mom what their weekend plans are, all while giving her a sexy face. If you aren't paying attention, you'll totally miss it like I did. That's kind of freaky. Number 93. When the subconscious guards are trapped in the vault, one of their hats can be seen labeled as "My Hat." This is a throwback to a small little argument from the first film, when two guards are seen arguing over whether or not a hat belongs to them. Number 94. In fact, those two guards are the same ones from that were debating over the hat. Their names are Frank and Dave. You gotta love continuity in the sequels. Number 95. Dave is voiced by Frank Oz, a legend in the children's entertainment space. He was the original puppeteer and voice for Miss Piggy and Fozzie Bear in The Muppet Show, and was the voice of Cookie Monster. Number 96. Frank, on the other hand, is voiced by Dave Goelz, another legend. He was the voice of Gonzo, among many others in The Muppet Show. Number 97. There's a blink and you miss it Easter egg for Elio. When Sadness makes her way back to the control room, there's a pile of memories that come with her. One of the memories shows Elio floating, which is Pixar's next film after Inside Out 2. Number 98. When the emotions travel down the stream of consciousness, they first try to float via pizza, but eventually have to trade that pizza for broccoli. This is a nod to the first film, where Riley is introduced to broccoli pizza. The broccoli pizza strikes again. Number 99, Pixar voice veteran John Ratzenberger returns once again to voice a mind worker. Number 100, the Pixar Luxo Ball can be seen when the emotions run through the Parade of Careers. Number 101, while in the Parade of Careers, you can see some balloons that represent careers that Riley seems to be interested in. There's a pastry chef, art teacher, ethnomusicologist, and then a Supreme Court justice. Now, if Bing Bong wants Joy to take Riley to the moon, they better add astronaut to that list of careers. Number 102, Fear's coffee cup in the film has the Dream Productions logo on it. If you don't remember, Dreams Production is the movie studio in Riley's mind responsible for her dreams. Number 103, for those wondering, there is no Pixar short attached to Inside Out 2. Number 104, if you are a fan of Michael Giacchino's score for the film, unfortunately, he didn't return to score Inside Out 2. Instead, Andrea Datzman takes over for Giacchino. This isn't the first time Datzman has acted as successor to Giacchino, as she scored for Doug Days, which is based on Up, which Giacchino also scored for. Number 105, with a string of not-so-successful box office films for Pixar, Inside Out 2 changes that with a huge opening at the box office. Inside Out 2 garnered a worldwide gross of over $290 million at the box office in its opening weekend, and continues to grow. Number 106, Kelsey Mann has expressed interest in making an Inside Out 3 with Amy Poehler, the voice of Joy. Will we see some more cut emotions in this one? Hopefully. Number 107, for those that can't wait for confirmation of an Inside Out 3, you're in luck, as Pete Docter recently gave an update that the Inside Out Disney Plus series has a release window of next spring, which would be 2025 unless I'm totally wrong. It's a win for us Inside Out fans, and I absolutely can't wait for it to come.
Right on. How was that for an emotional roller coaster? What did you think of the marathon? Did you learn anything new about the movies? What emotion is your favorite? Make sure you let us know in the comments, like the video if you liked it, and subscribe for more just like it. Thanks for watching, and remember, Frederator loves you.